The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johns.
Hello and thanks for joining us today. I'm Jim Allen.
And I'm Mary Johns. Coming up on Simply Southern, we'll meet a Lowndes County farmer who walked away from his cattle and a successful business to head up Alabama's Department of Agriculture and Industries.
You got to give back to improve things in the sort of sphere of your influence.
If the word art sounds frilly to you, get ready to meet an Alabama sculptor who rocks with rock.
After looking at painting and clay and different materials, stone just seemed to be that next challenge.
Sydney Phelps has gone back to school to honor the winner of the 2018 Bonnie Plant's Cabbage program.
But first, you'll meet the men behind the Alabama Fallen Warriors Project, a nonprofit focused on honoring the memory of Alabama's servicemen and women who have lost their lives in the war on terrorism.
What sustains us? Food? Family? Faith? Alabama farmers live those things every day. They conserve our resources, clothe our families, and fill our tables. They cultivate jobs for our communities and values for our future. Farmers grow it all right here in Alabama.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
The World War II Memorial, the Korean War Veterans Memorial, the Vietnam Wall, all everlasting, moving tributes to the patriotic men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for love of country. As of yet, though, there is no such national memorial for the thousands of military who have died in the war on terror. But the Alabama Fallen Warriors Project is hoping to change that, one bronze bust at a time.
Andrew was very active. He played every sport. He had endless energy. I just never believed we would get that call. But we did. And Kenneth called me, and I knew the second I heard his voice that Andrew had gotten killed.
Army Specialist Andrew Hand was 25 years old when he died in the line of duty in Afghanistan in 2010. He's also one of the first to be honored with a bronze bust through the Alabama Fallen Warriors Project, a nonprofit focused on memorializing Alabama's servicemen and women killed in the war on terror.
We want them to know that we see their sacrifices and what they gave to our country. And if they'll just give us a chance, we will figure out a way to honor their son or their daughter or their father that served in time of war.
Andrew's bust is one of 3 included in the Gateway Pentagon Plaza, part of the Veterans Memorial Arbor at Aldridge Gardens in Hoover.
It's a relief that you don't have to go to the cemetery all the time. And I'd say a lot of other people that he knew, comes here. I have people that visit Birmingham that's our friends and they want to go see. So it means a lot to us.
I love that he's not in the ground, he's above ground with the bust. And the setting here is beautiful. It's very calming and healing.
So far, money has been raised to complete 9 busts, but there are at least 120 Alabama veterans who have given the ultimate sacrifice in the war on terror.
We can actually build 1 bust per month. So at 110, 111 to go, that's a 10-year project. So what I hope to do is through awareness like this and different media and what have you, is that I'll be able to connect with the families and we'll raise the money to honor all these veterans.
The heavy task of sculpting the bust lies with retired Marine Colonel Lee Busby. He works with the veterans' families to collect photos and spends a couple months perfecting the sculpture in clay.
I was drawn to the uniform because it provides so much variation for a sculpture. It adds a certain gravitas or distinction to a piece.
The University of Alabama also plays a pivotal role in the project. Art students assist Colonel Busby, and the final pieces are cast at the university's foundry. But before the pieces go to the foundry, the families are invited to Colonel Busby's studio in Tuscaloosa to observe his work and offer suggestions.
It's a scary moment, actually. I had one where truly the sculpture was not at a stage to be looked at yet. And the mother sat down in front of it and looked at it for a minute and goes, got a lot of work to go. I asked them to come back down with some trepidation. And the same mother came in and sat down in front of it, and big old tears just started running down her eyes. So that's when you know to stop. You've got it.
While the process can help families grieve and heal, the greatest resolution seems to come from knowing these statues will be visible reminders of sacrifice and patriotism to all those who walk by.
They're going to be here for hundreds of years, and to have them out in the communities where these men were from, what a great donation that's there in public view for eons to come.
You know, I always say that we'll never forget, but sometimes I think they do. But I know his sacrifice was for the good of America.
You just feel good when you leave here. And the sadness, will always be there. But if you can turn that into something good, I think that's a good thing.
We really want to say a heartfelt word of gratitude to the Hands for sharing the story of their son Andrew. He was a true American patriot.
And a thank you to people like Mark Davis and Colonel Busby, who start memorial projects like this, and to everyone who puts on a uniform. You're the true American heroes.
If you'd like to find out more about this project, just go online to alabamafallenwarriorsproject.org.
When we return, classic elegance is evident in Brooks Barrow's creations, but they start from the simplest of materials. See stone shaped into sophistication next.
Soybean is a very versatile product. We make crayons out of it.
A lot of the combines you see rolling through the fields have a lot of plastic side panels that are made from a soy product.
The soybeans that we grow on our farm mostly goes into chicken feed.
Soybean production in Alabama employs over 10,000 people.
We grow some of the best soybeans in the world.
We go the extra mile to make sure when our name is stamped on it, we know it's the best product we can produce.
You could see it before anyone else. Your future, your own place, independence. It's not perfect, but you love it. A place to grow, to be yourself.
All for a better life.
Dream big. Alpha Insurance.
All for a better life.
Protect your dream with Alpha's new business owner policies.
A farmer has to live on faith. We do all we can do, but we can only control so much.
Alabama is the second largest poultry growing state in the nation, so we're trying our best to grow all the corn we can for that.
What we produce not only feeds and clothes all of the United States, but about half of what we make goes on to the world market.
We've been able to improve yields, have some things that can help us produce a better crop. I'm proud of the product we make and proud that I can say I'm an Alabama farmer.
It may not have the reputation of New York or Paris, but Alabama is rich in artistic talent. I think we've all seen on this show that some folks can do amazing things with a paintbrush, a block of wood, or even a welding torch. But what Brooks Barrow can create from a slab of southern stone is truly hard to believe.
Tisha Rhodes and her husband enjoy the work of Alabama artists. A number of pieces decorate their Montgomery residence. Some discreetly at home in their surroundings, others immediately catching your eye. These graceful sculptures are the work of Brooks Barrow, a guy with a talent for carving just about anything out of cold, hard stone.
He has little covered jars, business card holders, various things like that. The first big piece that my husband and I bought from him was the bird's nest. And it's probably my most favorite piece that I have of anybody's work.
I've always been involved in the arts. I was always, I guess, the kid that could draw. It really, after looking at painting and clay and different materials, stone just seemed to be that next challenge, and that's where I've stayed.
Brooks spends his working hours carefully chipping away at all shapes and sizes of rough, unpolished rock. With all the heavy lifting and hammering, art doesn't get much more physical than this. But what eventually emerges from all that chiseling is extraordinary.
I know stone sculptors who are inspired by the shapes they see within the stone. I can be inspired by something I see within an irregularly shaped stone, but I like the idea as an artist. I like the material to be the material. We've got some of the prettiest marble, highest quality marble here in Alabama of really anywhere. Russellville has a great oolitic limestone like Indiana limestone, but with a beautiful veining to it. The focus really is to try to be as local, work with materials that are part of our story here in Alabama.
Brooks' work ranges from large-scale sculptures, like the Standing Stones exhibit he did for Montgomery's Hyundai Manufacturing Center, to more pragmatic pieces like his popular series of bowls.
There is something kind of interesting just about the sheer mass and weight of a stone bowl over something else that you might have. If you think of a raw material like stone, and the materials or the tools that you have to use to craft a sleek, perfect bowl, I mean, fascinating.
I don't make shapes because they're challenging to make. I think there is just a quiet, subtle beauty in simple, timeless forms. And so I find in some ways that is a nice balance between what I do on the sculpture side, where you are forced to be novel and to break some new ground, express something new.
Brooks was raised in Alabama, but began his work in stone carving while living in Wisconsin. Having returned to his home state, Brooks has found renewed inspiration working on his family's land.
I really think that my work, it's a complement and a contrast to what I see. Working out here gives me an opportunity to walk the forest. It gives me opportunity to consider a much different environment. There's a lot of history that's been lived on these roads. And I think I'm appreciative of that history, and I feel like in some small way, me carving stone here, I'm part of that history. Part of what's happened along the roadside here in a way.
More information on Brooks Barrow and his stone creations can be found on his website at brooksbarrow.com. When Simply Southern continues, you'll meet a man who has spent his life working in agriculture. In his new position, he hopes to make things better for other farmers.
One out of 4 Alabama residents have benefited from the Alabama Cooperative Extension System. Last year, Master Gardener Managed Gardens donated $150,000 worth of fruits and vegetables to food banks, and over 25,000 young people developed math, science, technology, and engineering skills through 4-H. Now what we want to know is, how can we help you?
The versatile peanut. Meat of the earth, friend of the soil, tasty, nutritious, packed with protein. And Alabama peanut farmers nourish some very special things. Families, communities, and Alabama's economy. Peanuts. Good for you, good for Alabama.
And now, an Alabama tourism spotlight from Sweet Home, Alabama. Lovers of cinema know it as the Whistle Stop Cafe, but anyone is welcome to the restaurant now known as the Irondale Cafe. Opening in 1928 as a hot dog stand, this appetizing icon added more fare and fame to its offerings. Fannie Flagg, niece of the first owner, used the local hangout as a centerpiece in her book, Fried Green Tomatoes. The book was later turned into a movie and made the restaurant a stopping point for everyone in the Irondale, Alabama area. Today, anyone can bask in the history while enjoying some of the best hamburgers, barbecue, sandwiches, and of course, fried green tomatoes in the area. For your next adventure, go online to alabama.travel.
We've been raising fish for 33 years. Our farm and the catfish farms in Hale County in this area have had a huge impact on the labor, offering jobs. It's been a big economic boom for West Alabama. Our family is fully invested in U.S. farm-raised catfish.
From farmer to business owner to small-town mayor, Rick Pate has accomplished a lot in his life.
But the Lowndes County native has just embarked on his biggest challenge of all. Kevin Worthington introduces us to Alabama's new Commissioner of Agriculture and Industries.
Cattle have been an important part of Rick Pate's life his entire life.
Dad had, so when your dad has, you got 4 chicken houses, and we cut hay and combine seeds, and he was really a leader in genetics in beef cattle. And so we kind of, when the European breeds kind of came out, the Charolais and Simmental and Limousine, he did a lot of breeding, and we ended up settling on Charolais cattle, and Dad was really an innovator in the artificial inseminating and EPDs, and so yeah, that's kind of my background.
As an adult, Pate continued in the cattle business, but got a horticulture degree from Auburn and started a landscape company. Throughout his career, Pate remembered the lessons his parents taught him about serving others.
I was president of the Associated General Contractors. I was president of the Rotary Club. I was president of the Montgomery Auburn Club. I was president of the Alabama Irrigation Association. My dad had been president of the Cattlemen's Association. My mother had been president of Cattle Women. My brother's president of the Veterinarian Association. We just always grew up with that. You got to give back to improve things in the sort of fear of your influence.
Eventually, his desire to serve led him to become mayor of Lounsboro, a town of about 100 residents west of Montgomery. Other than both being elected positions, Pate says there are few similarities between his old job and his new one.
Really, I want to speak for rural Alabama. I want to create opportunities in rural Alabama. Yeah, I wish I could take everybody, gotten everybody in the car with me and gone on this incredible journey. People be blown away how great Alabama is, from the people in the Sand Mountains, the people in the Quad Cities up in Franklin, Colbert, and Lauderdale counties, to the Wiregrass, to down in the Black Belts. It's just a lot of people care about the communities and just need an honest voice to speak for them, and where we can find pockets to help them be able to make a living and stay in those communities, to try to help them do that.
Pate spent much of his short time in office getting to know the people who now work for him. He says he's been impressed by their professionalism.
I never thought about the fact that 327 or so employees, and most of them got a job to do every day, and that first day I show up and it's just like, everybody went on about their business, just like John was still here, Commissioner McMillan, and so that's a burden, It's not like everybody's waiting on you to walk in and tell them what to do.
During his campaign, Pate was endorsed by a number of agriculture and business groups. Farmers say they're excited about what the Department of Agriculture can do under the new commissioner's leadership.
I think that the state elected the right person, and I think that Rick Pate will do a great job serving us as Commissioner of Agriculture, and he has got a really outstanding group that's helping him with his different responsibilities that are also equally qualified and will do a great job.
If you're not a farmer, you may think the Alabama Department of Agriculture has no effect on you. But the commissioner says the second half of their name touches the lives of all Alabamians.
Well, I'm glad it's called Commissioner of Agriculture, but yeah, it could have been called the Commissioner of Consumer Protection. I mean, yeah, people would be bored if I told them what we actually did. I mean, because it's not glamorous. I mean, you talk about checking gas pumps, you talk about making sure scales are right. I mean, the things we do and to make sure our meat diagnostic lab, to make sure that there's no diseases. I mean, that's what we're charged with. We have that responsibility of protecting people's food supply, along with lots of other things. So, you know, what I want to do in addition to that is promote agriculture, promote rural Alabama, but our primary responsibility is we got to protect everyone.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
What one thing can you say about your local quality co-op store? You can trust us. You get what you need for your farm, for your lawn and garden, and the safest products for your pets. We're locally owned and operated, and you can trust that we care about our community and the people in it. So if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, the Quality Co-op Store has exactly what you need to get the job done. All this plus friendly, knowledgeable advice. Your Quality Co-op Store. There's one near you.
What we eat, what we wear. It all starts somewhere. And if it's good, it usually starts with a farmer. And that somewhere is right here in Alabama. In a field, in a barn, on a tractor. Right now, there's a farmer starting something good for all of us. And it all starts right here in Alabama.
FFA makes a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education.
We're strengthening American agriculture and providing our members with the skills needed to build healthy local communities, a strong nation, and a sustainable world.
We are the next generation of agriculture.
It's our turn now.
Let's show the world what we can achieve together.
We are FFA.
For more Simply Southern, be sure to follow us on social media. And while you're online, visit our website, simplysouthern.tv.net. Simply Southern will continue in a moment.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Hey folks, Sydney Phelps here with Bonnie Plants, and I'm in Reeltown, Alabama at Reeltown Elementary School. And inside we have an auditorium full of 3rd and 4th graders that are ready to find out that one of their own is the state of Alabama's winner for the 3rd grade cabbage program. Tripp Wilson grew a 30-pound cabbage, and I can't wait to see his face when we give him that $1,000 check.
Congratulations on being the Alabama state winner. Y'all give Tripp a round of applause.
What did you do together?
We buried it together, and we put metal bars around it to keep it safe.
Okay, so what was it like teaching him how to garden?
Well, I had always grown tomatoes, and I knew that it was going to be pretty much the same way, but cabbage was a little more touchy than the tomato plants, because you had to keep them dry, or the leaves keep them dry.
The cabbage program is an awesome program, and the Department of Agriculture has enjoyed participating in the I guess you call it the judging contest. We review the cabbages, and we participate in that, and that gets us involved to the degree that we're looking at the work that kids all over the state has done because of the good work of Bonnie Plant initiating this program. And we feel a kindred spirit with these kids, and it goes hand in hand with our Farm to School program, where we're working with kids in schools and school gardens and things. So it gives the opportunity for us to make that connection all the way through. And my goodness gracious, what better thing can we have to be involved in as adults in working with kids and helping them to learn to grow, helping them learn where food comes from, that it's not generated or manufactured in a store. You have to grow it.
There's so many young kids now that don't know anything about growing. And I'd like to pass on what I learned from my mom and dad. And maybe he'll pass on to his kids later on.
I felt so excited.
Folks, there you have it. You can see the excitement in the room. You can see Tripp is proud of his accomplishment. 30-pound cabbage, that's no small feat. And even his grandmother, talking about the transition between tomatoes and cabbage, she learned something. And that's the beauty of the program. Youth gardeners, master gardeners, no matter if you're starting in this or been around forever, everybody can get something out of it. But the most important thing is quality time with family members. We see this story over and over again across the country. But if you want to find out more information about the Cabbage program, go to bonnieplants.com, search Cabbage program, and sign up your local 3rd grade elementary school.
BonniePlants.com has all the information you'll need for a successful garden. But if you'd like to ask Sydney a question, you can drop him a line at simplysouthern@alafarm.com. And if he answers it on the air, we'll send you some nice gifts.
Thanks for watching Simply Southern today, folks, but we've got to run. Next week, we'll introduce you to a guy who knows all the best fishing spots because he built most of them.
And we'll meet a group of folks who are celebrating Alabama's upcoming bicentennial in an unusual way, with beer.
Well, that got my attention.
I'm sure that it did. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. We'll see you next week.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.